Super Mario Bros., Kirby, and Pokemon, arguably the three biggest franchises for Nintendo right now. Historically, the games have always done well. Back during a time when Nintendo reigned supreme, there was banger after banger coming out. From the start of the 80s to as far as today, you'd be hard pressed not to hear about those three franchises. During the era of the Super Nintendo was when Mario and Kirby truly started to flourish. Colorful graphics, outstanding music, exciting new gameplay elements. If you were around to experience these things live, it must have been crazy. Pokemon started right at the very end of the SNES era as well, with the release of Red and Green, Blue in the States, immediately seeing the same amount of growth. These aren't the only three huge franchises from the time though. Zelda, Contra, Street Fighter, Metroid, and Mortal Kombat, just to name a few. Let's go back to Street Fighter though. Street Fighter came out on August 12, 1987 and began to take the arcades by storm, with its most popular iteration, Street Fighter 2, coming out 4 years later in 1991. The mastermind company behind it all was Capcom, known these days for things like Ace Attorney, Monster Hunter, Resident Evil. However, if we go back to those times that I mentioned, the late 80s and early 90s during the video game boom, Capcom was known for a much different franchise that's mostly unheard of today. Megaman was another one of those huge franchises along with the likes of the big three at the top, with the first game releasing in 1987 along with Street Fighter. Megaman took what the first three did, but like 3 times. Just after 5 years of being out and about, Megaman was already getting things like spin-offs, its own anime, and cartoons and whatnot. Once the series had reached its 10th anniversary in 1997, the lineup was already crazy. Back in the 90s, it would be easier to find someone who didn't like Mega Man, or at least know about the series. In comparison to Big 3 mentioned, by 1997, the Kirby franchise had 5 major games, which isn't anything to scoff at, especially for what was a new IP at the time. Using the same timeline until the 10th anniversary, here's a timeline of main Mario games from 1987 to 1997. Here's the timeline of main Mega Man games released in the same period. Despite the crazy momentum Mega Man had, once 1999 came around, Mega Man had started to fade away. The Classic and X series started slowing down, with the Classic series not having any entries until 2008, unless you count Rockman and Forte. I do. The X series also had some games coming out, but not nearly as fast, and by the late 2000s, Mario, Kirby, and Pokemon had prevailed, but Capcom had stopped producing Mega Man games at all. Let's go back to Rockman and Forte though. As mentioned, it was the last classic Mega Man game until 2008, but it was only released in Japan until 2002, in which there was an official English version released for the Game Boy Advance. However, during the time that there was no official English version, the fans took it upon themselves to make their own. Some years had passed, and not only were fans translating the older Lost games from Japanese to English, but they started evolving and making their own, much like most other franchises at the time. Which brings us to today. Mega Man Unlimited is a fan game following Mega Man that had released all the way back in 2013, but was being developed until 2008, following the release of Mega Man 9. A fun fact about this game actually is that it was originally going to be called Mega Man 10, but the official Mega Man 10 came out before this did, so the name was changed to Mega Man Unlimited. It's such a good fan game though, that it was actually accidentally used in promotional material for the real Mega Man 10. And from here on out, I am going to be talking about this game in its length, so if you want to play it for yourself first, I'll link it in the description. It's free, go check it out. To get the most basic thing out of the way, let's start with the graphics. Historically, to both Capcom and the consumers, classic Mega Man has always felt at home with an 8-bit style. I mean, looking back at the timeline, about half the games shown have an 8-bit art direction, although that was done largely in part due to hardware limitation. Even Mega Man 9 and the aforementioned Mega Man 10 used 8-bit art styles, despite the 2 games prior, Mega Man 8 along with Rockman and Forte, using the 32-bit style seen in only those 2 games. As such, Mega Man Unlimited follows the same 8-bit art style of the original 6 games, but that's not to say it isn't a good looking game though. Philip Poulin and his small team really did pull together here. The sprites, colors, and both types of backgrounds look really good, even if you're getting nitpicky about the pixels. The only thing that caught me off guard was probably Rainbow Man's color palette, but it's okay because his level music makes up for it in passing. That's another thing the small group of developers didn't slack on. The music. It's nothing like Mega Man 9 or X1 level soundtrack, but it's still really good. They all fit their stages pretty well. Comet Woman's stage is adventures for a piece revolving around space, but it has some sort of underlining bleak outlook for a space theme before coming together. And Rainbow Man's theme is super hectic and crazy, highlighting just how difficult and random that stage is, but we'll get there. To quickly touch on the controls, it's the same as basically any other Mega Man game. You jump and shoot your way through pretty tough platforming and a barrage of enemies, and you'll be good to go. There is an option to play this game without the charge shot and another setting to play without the down jump slide, rather than using a button, but I just chose to play with the charge shot and keep the default slide because that's just what I'm used to with the other games. Now that we're done with the basics, we can start making our way through the stages. I played the game about halfway through a few months ago because I was actually trying to make this video back then, but I didn't get crazy far. As such, I didn't remember who to start with and chose Mr. League of Legends himself. Huge mistake. Jared. I'm gonna fight Jared. No, you suck! Are you kidding? After getting a game over before fighting the unemployment final boss, I went to Nail Man. He's a big nail. Do you think he's a metalhead? His stage takes place in a construction area, beginning with a decently easy horizontal section before transitioning to a vertical platforming section. Something fun about this section is that the platforms are a callback to the platforms in Guts Man stage within the original Mega Man. Near the top of the section, you'll see one of these little blue things. These are seen a lot around the game and are called mini E-Tanks. They don't work on their own, but if you collect 4, they become a regular sized E-Tank, assuming the same function as the original games and restoring your health to full. Nail Man's submissive top serves as the mini boss, having a hammer throw attack, a jump attack, stuns Mega Man in his spot, and a floor wave attack. Once you get his attack patterns down though, he's pretty easy to get past. Moving forward, there's another vertical section, this time falling instead of rising. There's a split in the path, but both have insta-kill spikes on the walls, and they both lead to the same place. The only difference is that the path on the right leads you to having to fight this annoying stone-throwing jackhammer Met. I hate the Mets. What is going on my tablet? There's a funny water section, followed by more of those nail blocks.
Okay, I have to be the goat of platforming and like...
And finally, there's a room full of enemies before getting to Nail Man himself. Defeating Nail Man gets you the shield attack that he uses, and it's actually the most overpowered weapon in the game. At this point, I was just letting my Alexa choose the stages for me.
Alexa, pick a number between 2 and 7.
So I was headed to YoYo Man stage next. I guess this stage begins on the outside of an observatory. I'm not entirely sure what these buildings are supposed to be, so while you're focused on the background, make sure to get jump scared by me when I was 12 before having your controller get connection issues. Big wheels with spikes on them decide to materialize out of thin air and chase you while you do your platforming. The thing about these though is that they will chase you until the end of time if you don't kill them. Meaning, if you just try getting through the platforming segments and rush, you're going to be pressured by like 12 spike wheels parading through the air. A feat highlighted shortly after when the first of said platforming segments appears. After getting past a million spike wheels, there's a room with a single enemy that serves as a little buffer before you have to do more insane platforming. Why? After a shocking realization, I decided to be a little smarter and test out the nail shield. Usually I don't like using the special weapons in normal Mega Man games, but this is one of the ones I actually like using a lot. After that egregious part, there's more buffer rooms. Something I'm noticing about this stage is that it has a lot of interesting design. The one notable part about this section is this jump where these rising platforms are. One of them is under spikes and rises super fast, so you have to get good enough reflexes to get off it and onto the other one before it falls back down. Finally, we're at the end of the stage. YoYo Man himself jumps around a lot and can either throw his cutters at you or do a Clown Man style act in which he swings himself around and continues throwing his cutters. He isn't weak to the nail shield, which is the only weapon I have, so I just use the buster and he goes down pretty easy. Next, I was directed to Glue Man stage. Right after getting into the stage, it's very apparent that someone had a good time, at least a few days before we came into the stage. Stepping in what we're led to believe is glue will remove all mobility from you unless you jump around to move, which is to be expected honestly. A lot of the following screens are also covered in the glue. Fuck! And there's a break when the game introduces a platform that you stick to as it moves you in the direction dictated by the arrows on it. There's a few more glue covered rooms before we're faced with another mini boss. I think it's like a hippo? The yellow part just deflects bullets, so you have to attack the eyes. Once you get past it, there's a climbing section that uses all the stage features we've seen so far before you have to fight another one of those hippo mini bosses, but this time with the glue floor and again with a death pit under. Getting past this brings you to another arrow ceiling section and more glue platforming. Glue Man himself has a pretty simple pattern, just following the path of the room, going up the walls and shooting either 1 or 3 glue shots. And if it hits you, you'll get stunned unless you mash the D-pad to get out. Nail Shield wasn't good against him either, and I honestly forgot about Yo-Yo Cutter, which turns out to be his weakness, so I just used the Buster and got him out of the way. Fittingly enough, defeating him gets you the weapon that shoots glue and can also make platforms for you to use, which is really easy and comes in handy later in the game. Comet Woman was next in the shopping list, and her stage takes place in, space. There's like 5% gravity throughout the stage, but it mostly only affects Mega Man. These turret enemies sure aren't affected by it. There isn't too many enemies in the first few screens. There is what seems to be electric lines with some sparks flowing around. I like this one, which was really funnily shaped. Penis. Oh, there isn't anything else remarkable about this stage other than a few screens with fun designs and me getting clapped up. Ah! Comet Woman herself isn't weak to anything I had, so I fought her with the basic Buster as well. It honestly seems like this is becoming a Buster only run. Defeating her gets you the Comet Dash, which is basically just her dash attack, even shooting out waves when you use it. Next, came try Nitro Man.
Why'd I say it like that? My name's Jet. My name's Jet. I like League of Legends. And Gooning.
Much like how Mega Man Unlimited was going to be called Mega Man 10, Try Nitro Man was originally going to be called Nitro Man. Since the official version was released first, however, Nitro Man's name was changed to Try Nitro Man. Try Nitro Man stage also begins with a vertical climb and immediately introduces the player to some concepts in the stage. A bit later in the stage are these platforms that raise incredibly quickly, but I just skipped them using Rush Jet because they're actually so cooked. There's also these scorpion mini bosses that are peppered around the stage a few times, and its weak spot is the tail, which is honestly inaccurate to a real scorpion, but it makes for an interesting boss, as that's where it attacks from as well. After more vertical progression, there's this funky looking room with an extra life. You have to do some equally as funky rush coil jumps to get it, but it's probably worth it. Yo-Yo Cutter makes quick work of these birds, and the climb begins again, where you'll be met with another scorpion. There has to be a scorpion on like every room, I swear, and they always come out of nowhere with the core that kills you. There's a parkour section of which I did about half of, with the boss door following immediately after. Nitro Man himself actually takes good damage from the nail shields attack, but I ended up running out of energy, dying, and just switching to the buster. Defeating him gets us the same explosion attack, but I can't exactly shoot it down like he can. Alexa chose Rainbow Man as the next. Clearly he doesn't know what his name means.
His color palette is all over the place.
I attempted his stage for all of 3 minutes because...
What the fuck? What the f—
Tank Man was next because he was the only one left over other than Death Laser Man and the unemployed final boss himself. His stage takes place on a military base, I assume, with a bunch of tankified mets and mines in the ground. There's also a Sniper Joe with a sunbeam cannon followed directly by another one in a tank. The ceiling arrows from Glue Man stage make a return, but this time they're a little different. They don't stick you to the ceiling, instead launching you in whatever direction it's facing. There's a mini boss which also fits the stage theme. And there's a lot of tanks in this stage. It shoots even bigger sunglass, and the tank mets really throw you off your game, but we managed to reduce it to just 2 Sniper Joes. After the mini boss, there's a ceiling arrow platform section that's really hard to see considering it's the exact same color as the rest. Fuck. I was able to get past it using Comet Dash on my next attempt. Upstairs is the final enemy barrage area, which was really inconvenient because guess how many lives I had? That's right! 0! There is a cool part where you slide under a tank and mines explode behind you, but it ends really quickly as you're sent back inside. After a few more screen changes, we're at the unit himself.
Alright.
He wasn't weak to the hot glue gun, but I switched to the nail shield and it worked through him pretty easy. Okay, so nail shot is, what I'm hearing is nail shot is actually the most overpowered weapon in the game. Killing Tank Man gets this oddly confusing weapon that I like never used at all, but I guess the color scheme representing camo is pretty cool. With only Summoner's Rift and Rainbow Man left, I had no choice but to face the final boss of AFKing himself, Jetman. Much like Tank Man, Jetman's stage is super on theme, with this one taking place in an airport surrounded by mountains. The key to starting this stage is actually infiltrating said airport. Once you're in, you realize just how stressful it is to be slammed by so many projectiles, unless you're an Undertale player, in which case you'll probably be used to it. There's a mini boss with a stupid strict hitbox next. He tosses boxes at you that explode into smaller boxes that also explode, but once you work your way around it, it becomes pretty easy. The following screen introduces these platforms that move opposite to whatever way you're facing, which makes for a pretty interesting challenge. And once you're outside again, there's this really questionable section with these rising enemies and the missile droppers from earlier, but with some practice and a lot of dying, it's pretty easy too. There's a secret path later in the level that is actually the worst thing in existence. It's another vertical climb section, but you're constantly getting bombed by the purple bomber and the guys who explode and release their peepees everywhere. It becomes easier if you use the nail shield though. Once you get past another BS section, at the end of the path is the letter Y. Y indeed. It's actually the first of 4 letters that spell Yoku, which you may have noticed in the weapon select screen. I mean, I'd hope you notice it. It's in big fucking letters. There's secret paths in 3 other levels that get you the other letters, but you have to go out of your way to get them since you need certain weapons. We'll come back to that. There's another one of those mini bosses that drain your HP right before you fight Mr. 100 Mil and grow a garden himself. Jetman. His design is actually really cool, and I love his color scheme. After much trial and error, he ended up being weak to only attack given by a female, which is fitting for IRL Jetman. Oh! Beating him gets us the missile attack that can home in if you charge it. Going back to the Yoku letters, the remaining letters are in Nitro Man, Tank Man, and Rainbow Man stages. In Nitro Man, on this first group of 3 platforms after the Scorpion boss, go all the way to the right using Rush Jet to find a gravity polarity room with parkour. And in Tank Man stage, there's a section with a ladder and a small hole you can slide into by using the glue man gun. Finally, the anti-gamer himself, Rainbow Man. There's a bunch of insta-kill obstacles in this level, so I'm just gonna let the level play out.
I'm gonna just lock it. I'm gonna lock it.
Bruh. Oh, I'm actually so smart. Ugh. Ugh. No. Please help. No! Yes! Once I got to Rainbow Man himself, I just put on the glue gun and called it a day. It worked well on his stage, and it worked well against him too, getting us an easy kill. Die, 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 die! Yes, man! And the Rainbow Beam, which explodes into a bigger ring of damage, either by pressing the shoot button again or on contact. Collecting all 4 Yoku letters gets you the Yoku Man stage, a secret stage that I could not for the life of me beat. The music is probably the best part of the stage because the rest of it is a mindfuck. After 7 million years of Yoku block rooms, you make it to Yoku Man himself. Holy, what a troll! He thrives off his Yoku block platforms and can literally just disappear and reappear whenever he wants. Not only does he just decide to die and re-alive from in the universe, he can also just decide to do it again, just dying and coming back to life. Have you heard of the phrase rubbing salt in the wound? Yoku Man doesn't just rub salt into the wound, he full on seasons the wound, having a crazy insta-kill attack that takes up the entire bottom of the room. The only way I got around it was by damage buffering into the clear spot, which he also decided to stand in, which makes you take even more damage. Beating him gets you the Yoku attack, which just spits out a copy Megaman that homes onto enemies. What a freaking stage! With the power of self-cess now in our entourage, we can head to Wily's castle. Wily's hostage home begins outside like literally every other Wily castle, and has a lot of mines and bombers. There's a fun bit where you have to use the glue shot to get up a wall, but it's not too hard. Nitro Man stage gets a sequel before you head into more Guts Man Guts platforms and the spin-off reboot to the Nitro Man section. The callbacks to old games don't stop, as there is a moving platform section much like the iconic Mecha Dragon from Mega Man 2, this time with a crab. The crab boss has 2 attacks, this one where it shoots electric balls through the air that you have to dodge, or this other attack where he shocks an entire ladder. You literally have to dodge every single attack or it's certain death. Fuck! After many game overs, we end up beating it. Wily's second hostage home stage takes place in his sewage system, I guess. After a quick enemy rush, you actively jump into Wily's lack of water to progress the stage. After a lot of tight piss platforming, we get out of here to find another glue gun section and more sewage! Ah! There's this confusing room where you have to pick the right path, and after a few tries, we make it past. Immediately after is this room with a screen wipe and 3 mets. The screen wipe takes the buster like a good boy, and the mets go down to Rainbow Beam. Honestly, I had no reason to include this other than just showing how well this worked. The boss of this stage has an interesting name, 576510, whatever that means. It's a pretty easy boss, just shooting out bubble bombs and normal shots at you. The only attack you really have to worry about is this. There is a way to get around it though, you just have to wait till it gets close to the top and jump pretty high. And once we figure that out, the boss goes down pretty easy. Hostage Home 3 houses some of the most random combination of enemies, starting with a Sunjo and these fuck-ass woodcutters or whatever they are. The whole stage is a gravity gimmick, much like that of Gravity Man in Mega Man 5, although this one is a lot crazier, especially when you have a dysfunctional controller. There's this one part that I couldn't do properly at all, instead opting to just damage boost my way past the spikes. And the worst room in the game is also here. Getting past it just puts you against more insane jumps and upside down Yoku block sections that may actually be worse than Yoku Man himself. After much vertigo, we make it to the boss. Proto Man!
Mega Man, your brother is giving me sloppy. I mean, getting sloppy.
Proto Man, tell me he looks like a fish.
Stay away, Mega Man.
But I said stay back! Ah! The Proto Man fight is really cool, although really predictable if you played Mega Man 3. It was a hard fight though, especially considering that my controller shipping out was getting worse by the second. The final Wily hostage stage is a red room filled with spikes before you get to the boss rematch section. The capsules don't bring you straight to the boss like basically every other Mega Man game, instead taking you to mini stages that foreshadow the boss by using that stage's enemies. Comet is weak to Tank, Rainbow is weak to Glue, Nail is weak to Tri-Nitro, Jet is weak to Comet, YoYo is weak to Jet, Tri-Nitro is weak to Rainbow, Glue is weak to YoYo, Yoku is weak to Tri-Nitro, again, which is really inconvenient because it actually takes all of it to beat Nail Man. And finally, Tank is weak to Nail.
Bass! I've outsmarted Dr. Hey, that's not my name. Don't you see? Robots like us are superior to humans, Mega Man.
You're wrong, Bass. We're equals with humans.
You keep saying my name wrong. I'm going to kill you.
Bass's fight is super cool too. He shoots a bunch of bullets at you and you have to dodge them and him in a super tight way. He even has this cool attack where he combines with treble and shoots lean blast at you like in Mega Man 8.
Mega Man, what time is it? Why was Proto Man in my room? Ah! What the?
You what this junk in my trunk? How dare you try and defy me?
So, no head?
Look, Megaman, my virus is so powerful it almost took me out. And now, I've got you right where I want you. Huzzah!
Yup. Wily just fucking kills base and is like, you know what? I'm not even gonna move the body. His first stage is weak to yo-yo cutters, so I just spammed him with that until I got it over with. Defeating him blows up his huge machine and he ends up in one of those funny baby walking machines. This phase's weakness is also yo-yo cutter, so it ends up working out okay. We beat him and we move on to, whoa, wait a minute, another final stage! After a very long and actually kind of funny falling boss door sequence, you're put into a final hallway complete with frogs. Okay. There's one last hurrah before you head into the final boss fight. Guys. That looks like 0. Oh, what the skip? What, am I just not allowed to attack? Oh, that's aura. I just got mollywopped. Defeating the 0 prototype gets you in a getaway section, which you have to escape the castle before it blows up, and it's actually kind of a little stressful.
I hope you were able to get out on time, Rock. I sold. I fear a time will come in which I fumble so badly that everyone dies. You're the only one who's immune to it, and I wonder if you'll truly be okay. You think I'm useless now, huh? Fine. I'll make sure he lives. That's my purpose now, old man.
Well, finally, I've completed all the repairs on you, Megaman. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. How did I survive? I guess someone brought you back. I don't know who it was, or when it was, or why it was, but we should be grateful. You're too goated to just die like that. And after all of that, the credits finally roll with some fun one-shots of the Robot Masters using their powers for not evil purposes. And that's the game. This game is stupid hard, but I actually really enjoyed the challenge, especially with my busted up controller. Most Mega Man games take me about an hour or less to complete, and this one took me 6 hours and 21 minutes. It's a really good game, and it's free, so I definitely suggest checking it out if you're looking for a challenge, or even if you're just looking for a fun time killer. It's definitely up there in quality with official Mega Man games, and I actually like this one better than some of the actual Mega Man games, so go check it out! Thank you for watching. This game took a really long time to record and probably an even longer time to edit, so I appreciate you sticking around for the whole thing. You don't have to subscribe to me just yet, but you should definitely check out the other videos on my channel and then make your decision. You can also check out my friends' channels on the homepage of my channel or by clicking into the cards right now. That's all for today though, so make sure to stick around for the next one. Bye bye!